Twin Peaks Streamflow Timing. Can we use forest and alpine snow meltout response to estimate these? So in a snow-dominated system, the streamflow hydrograph has large flows during the snowmelt contribution. In some watersheds, like the Uncompahgre that we studied here and others in the San Juan Mountains of Colorado, we see two peaks or twin peaks in the streamflow. Some years it's a little less obvious, and on the Uncompahgre, during our study period of 20 years from 2005 to 2024, we saw 2 years where there were no twin peaks obvious. Our study site was in Colorado in the western United States, specifically in the area starting with Red Mountain Pass and flowing northward. We're looking at the Uncompahgre watershed, a little under 400 square kilometers. The 4 headwater basins that we investigated in more detail had a majority of their land cover, a majority of their area being alpine, being above the forest. Here in this land cover map, we can see that the lower part of the basin is forest, and then we have some urban areas as well. 3 monitoring stations. The Center for Snow and Avalanche Studies has an alpine monitoring station at Senderbeck, the Senderbeck study plot, a forested study site study plot at Swamp Angel, and we also used the NRCS SNOTEL station at Red Mountain Pass. There are not many monitoring stations in the Alpine across the western US. We're looking at a sample year here. We've got streamflow in blue. We've got the forested snow depth measurement here in green. We can see there's more snow depth, but it melts out sooner. And then we have the Alpine site in gray. And we hypothesize that the first peak matches with the forest meltout, and the second peak matches with the alpine meltout. So when we look at the detailed snowmelt peak, the high snowmelt from streamflow from snowmelt, we can see the first peak here in late May, the second peak occurring a few weeks later, and then we look at the forest meltout, exactly the same, snow disappearance, and then the alpine meltout is a few days later. But they're relatively well correlated, and that is the impetus for this study. When we look at the forested site, we see a relatively good correlation later in the season. The snow disappearance date becomes a little bit later than that first peak. And then when we look at the alpine, there are some outliers, but it looks pretty good. Our paper investigates the timing of the streamflow peaks and how they correspond to the alpine and forest meltout.